And Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ruach. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. The true Hebrew Israelites are the so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who may look like the other nations but believe on this truth. You would be Israelites through the seed line of your father. This is going to be a video lesson. I'm going to start with the book of Genesis, chapter 49, and verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons, and he said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. And so Jacob was a prophet. Verse 2, Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. And the point I wanted to focus on was verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. Gad is one of the sons of Jacob, or one of the sons of Israel, the so-called Native Americans. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And who was that troop? It was the Esau's cavalry. I believe it's called the United States Cavalry. That was the troop. A troop shall overcome him. Esau is known as the so-called white man, so-called European, Caucasian, whatever. Now, when you look at where Israel would be, and it'll be here in the last days. You read 2nd Ezra 13, not all Israel, but 9 out of the 12 tribes of Israel we'll see. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. And verse 40, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanessar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. And this was dealing with the Americas. So this is when So you had Esau. You take it back. Esau ruled ancient Rome. Then Jake took over ancient Rome. Esau was in the bottomless pit, the medieval times. And then once Esau started ascending out of the bottomless pit, the Renaissance period, then he came over to the fourth part of the earth, and he conquered Gad. He conquered the northern tribes. This is Revelation chapter 6 in verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. Now the fourth part of the earth, that is mainly dealing with Babylon, America. And so when did the Israelites, we read where 9 out of the 12 tribes of Israel came to the Americas. How would they be in America when they went to a land where never mankind dwelt? And that would be the so-called the so-called Hispanic and Native American tribes, not the so-called Negro tribes in 2nd Ezra 13. The so-called Negro tribes were under Esau in ancient Rome, and then they took over tribes of Israel. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And they were taken to America in slave ships, according to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And so all the tribes would eventually meet in Babylon, or at least in the Western Hemisphere. So we can identify what in the fourth part of the earth the so-called white man is ruling, the Edomites. And when we read that Gad, a troop shall overcome him, that was a so-called white man. So that proves that we're the Israelites, because where would Gad be at this time? At the time of Genesis 49, I believe it was 19, would be in the fourth part of the earth. And then the troop overcame him. And that's the devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And so what's going to happen now is, let's keep reading. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And so this is what will happen, mainly America. Hunger is famine, and with hunger, famine. And eventually the elect Israelites will be delivered from mainly Babylon, but also over the earth. But this is Revelation 20 and verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is Europe, and a great chain in his hand. 2 Ezra 5. There's no such thing as hell. People might tell you it's some crazy thing like the underworld, but really the bottomless pit is a land. This is 2 Ezra 5 in verse 24. And of all the lands of the whole world there was chosen thee one pit. So that's the point, that a pit is a land. It says, of all the lands of the whole world there was chosen thee one pit. And the bottomless pit is a different pit. The bottomless pit is Europe, so it's a land mass, if you will. And of all the flowers thereof one lily. Back to Revelation 20:1. Now I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. And this is talking about the so-called white man, the Edomites, and bound him 1,000 years. And this was the medieval times. Esau fell out of power in ruling the Roman Empire, and he was in the bottomless pit. So this isn't talking about a mystical being, it's talking about the so-called white man, the Edomites, Esau, Edom. Verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years shall be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. Now you need to skip to verse 7, because it jumps time periods. Verse 7, and when the 1,000 years are expired, it was roughly 400 to 1400, which is a rough time period, which is the medieval time period. That's the 1,000 years where Esau was doing bad in the bottomless pit. That old serpent, the devil, also Cain. Jake was ruling in Europe. You hear about the Moors. Those are really Israelites. Once under the Roman Empire, but then ruling. Speaking about Israel under the Roman Empire, then ruling. And Esau was in the bottomless pit. And so Esau started, after the 1,000 years are expired, said Satan, Esau shall be loosed out of his prison. So then Esau started coming back into power. He started conquering, and eventually he went over to the fourth part of the earth in establish his rule, which is the little horn, America, in Daniel 7. In America, in the fourth part of the earth, in the western hemisphere. And he also took the Israelites of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, who fled into the interiors of Africa, would be in West Africa, from under Rome, and took them in slave ships to America. Verse 8, and so, that's pretty much the point. So Daniel chapter 7, in verse 7, and I saw this in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, which is ancient Rome, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and it stamped the residue at the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I consider the horns, and behold, and so this was in verse 7, Esau, the old serpent, the devil, ruled ancient Rome. Then you would be in the bottomless pit for that 1,000 years, the medieval times. I believe it's also called the Dark Ages. Verse 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. This little horn is dealing with America. So Esau ascended out of the bottomless pit and eventually ruled this little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and those 3 are the Spanish, the French, and the British. And you can read about that in American colonial history books, which you don't actually have to read it. You can look it up online. Or it's in the scriptures, it's in the Bible. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. So, and there are various wars fought between, so Esau and his own people, and also Esau and Gad, as we read. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, Gad being in the 4th part of the earth in the end times. And then Esau went over here, and so, and then there would be a time of it said in the 4th part of the earth, sword, kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So we're going to see a famine in America soon, much sooner rather than later, possibly within the year, very possible. This is Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. I'll start at verse 1. The burden of the word of Yahweh Bashmi Oshai to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh Bashmi Oshai, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? And that's what our people say. Where does the Most High loved us in his poor state? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, who's a so-called black man, yet I love Jacob. And we read back in Daniel 7, and verse 9, it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. That's the Heavenly Father Yahweh. That's his true name in the Hebrew, whose garment was white as snow, and his hair, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. And so that proves he's a so-called black man. It says the hair of his head like the pure wool. So the Most High is not so-called white. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So back to Malachi. So how does the Most High feel about Esau, the so-called white man? Verse 3, or let's read verse 2 again. I have loved you, saith Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? The Most High loves Jacob. Israel, was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I love Jacob. There you have it. Verse 3, and I hated Esau. So the God of the Bible, the true power, the true God, the Most High, hates Esau, the so-called white man, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom saith, Esau and Edom are the same. We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. And so Esau, Edom is the wicked, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, indignation forever. And what does Job say? Job chapter 21, verse 30. That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. The wicked is the Edomites we just read. The day of destruction is the ICBM nuclear missiles, which will bring fire. So the wicked, the Edomites, are reserved to be burned from the ICBMs. That's the opposite of salvation. They are destined for destruction. And when we read back in Daniel 7, in verse 11, it said, I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. So what part of the beast is dealing with America? Babylon started as the little horn. And so America will be the lake of fire. Now, back dealing with the history, we read at in verse 24, Daniel's chapter 7, verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. Actually, this is the wrong one, Slovakia. Verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. As the 3's dealing, we already read this. This is same thing. The Spanish, the French, and the British. And the other little horn, America. Even of the horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, because America looks down on the other European nations. Verse 21, I beheld in the same horn. So keep in mind what we read about Gad and Esau coming up out of the bottomless pit. I beheld in the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. This is when Esau came to the 4th part of the earth, and he conquered Gad in the northern kingdom. And so soon we're at the time of famine, Jacob's trouble, martial law, and the destruction of America by fire and these Edomites. Then will the kingdom of heaven be on the earth. But none of this will happen until Revelation 13:16, the microchip is made mandatory. So all these events in history are based on the Bible, so the events in the very near future, even the events as we speak, are based on the Bible. The Euphrates River is drying up. We see World War III is about to happen. And so keep watching and praying. So with that, I'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Double honors to elders and apostles, great millstone of our will. Shalom to the elect.